On the issue of agriculture, of course, South Africa has national interests, which is important to disclose. But for us, I think, because we live in a region and are very integrated as a region, the question that we want out of agriculture is obviously food security and food sovereignty, which has become very critical for the SADC region as a whole. Yes, there has been great temptations to offload, as I said in my presentation, many of the issues emanating from the Doha development round, particularly on the agreement on agriculture, the whole commodification, the marketization, so to speak, of agriculture. The challenge for us has been, how do you de-link some of those WTO issues, but still link some of the important issues that come out of agriculture to your food summits, your Rome summits, for example. The right to food, the right to produce, making sure that countries control the supply chains of the food, the right to set their own prices, etc. So I think there are challenges within the debates on how do we delink and link, because we don't always see eye to eye, particularly with the developed countries, on the delinking of these issues, and I think this complicates many of the issues. But fundamentally, South Africa supports the issue of food security and food sovereignty, which is critical within these discussions. And we look at it as a multi-layer of a number of issues, not just agriculture. It's linked to land, it's linked to sustainable development, it's linked to a whole range of other issues which are critical for us. I think I'll stop there. I just wanted to also pick up very quickly on the comment that Pat made in terms of the dominant models, I suppose, that are used around carbon trading. I think it's an opportunity for civil society to actually bring some alternatives to the table. This is a very critical and important area. A lot of the suggestions that do come onto the table from developed countries, of course, respond to the neoliberal agenda of dominance within the system and the commodification of everything, and entrusting people we shouldn't trust with systems and processes that they shouldn't be handling in the first place. But I think we welcome, as South Africa, alternative positions on this, alternative proposals, and we're happy to take them and table them with our minister. I think it's very important that we do that. And I must also say that my minister is extremely keen to hear the proposals of civil society, particularly from the countries, from the umbrella countries. Maybe we can break some of these deadlock by saying your constituencies are saying something different. So I think that it is important that, you know, we move away from some of these dominant models of development, these dominant models of looking at climate change and dominant, you know, solutions, neoliberal solutions, and come up with alternatives. I think that the format of any UN conference is always decided upon by the parties at the UN. It's not South Africa does not decide on these things. We host, we are told this is the format, and that is how we would host it. I do know that there is a very active civil society space that is being organized in Durban by many social movements and grassroots movements there. And there will be, I think, very strong participation in this space. Yes, the spaces tend to be extremely delinked from each other. Let me take off my excellency hat now and talk to you as an old activist who has participated in this space, and particularly at WSSD, very actively there. I think that it's a lot of times we tend to censure ourselves as activists, and participating in the alternative space is fine. But I think that you need an inside and an outside strategy. You have to have people on the inside who will carry the messaging to the inside of the room and take those messages and the responses back to the outside. It's very critical that we have that kind of strategy and not disengage from the process, no matter how difficult they make it. If there's an opportunity for people to register as NGOs and civil society organizations within the official space, we should get as many people on the inside as possible with a common agenda and a common strategy. You will find countries that are friendly to your agenda, and I think you'll find a number of African countries who are friendly to your agenda. You can speak to those ministers, but the time to speak to them is now. Take advantage of the high commissioners and ambassadors who are located here in Ottawa to say, look, we've got a final statement of our meeting as civil society. We've got this proposal that we want to send through to your minister. It's our duty as ambassadors and high commissioners to send those messages home and ensure that our ministers are quite aware of all of these different alternatives. But I cannot stress enough the importance of playing the inside and the outside role. I was in Seattle and I played both roles. I was an activist on the street. I put on my high heels and I played an active role on the inside as well. And our job was to take information in and out of there, talk to the ministers responsible on the inside. And that brought about the collapse of the WTO in Seattle. And I think we've really got to up the ante and use every strategy that you can to enter the space, to engage the space, force them to engage, force us to engage with you. I think that's very important. I can't stress that enough. On the second level, in terms of the 2 degrees centigrade, yes, my government has supported this. It is not only just a South African position, it is an African Union position. So just as my president will stand up and articulate this, you need to speak to your president too and say, no, this is not the right position. We want this thing at 1.5 or less. So, I mean, this is an African Union position. South Africa's positions are guided by the African Union, the consensus positions that we take as the African Union. So it's very important that you also study the African Union positions because they are reflective of what the African heads of state have committed to. Finally, in terms of how Africans are looking at climate change, I think that the work that, the fact that this is a COP that is happening on the African continent is very positive in the sense that it gives the opportunity to highlight, to expose, to train and to educate on the issues of climate change. I don't think that we've always articulated them in the same, or have an understanding that is the same as the West, and I don't think we do. I think we do understand climate change. It's happening to us. We may not have words of defining it, but we know what people know exactly what is happening to them. But how to take those words, how to take those voices and turn them into words of action that can really apply pressure on governments to act in different ways. This is really what I can suggest on that.